Everything is at stake.
A person can face sexual gender-based violence even through intimate
prevent
violence.
Unwanted pregnancy and abortion, unsafe abortion among young
There is
people.
erratic rainfall. What do I mean by that? It is increasingly unpredictable rainfall patterns.
We as humans tunachangia to bring the effects
any
of
role,
climate
but
change.
you can work remotely. But hii hauwezi fanya without the
You can also turn your talent into an economic resource that can help you.
Everything is at stake.
Good people, this is At Stake Podcast. Thank you for joining. This is yet another episode. I'm your host today. I'm Zabulon. People call me Zabu. I'm a peer educator at Bondo Youth Wellness Center. And today I'm joined with guests. I'd like them to introduce themselves, starting from this side.
Okay, Wagwan. My name is Naomi Onang. I work as a youth counselor at the Youth Wellness Center, and I'm happy to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Cynthia, mental health advocate, and currently working on research on depression and anxiety, focusing on young people. Thank you.
Niaje wadau, my name is Jack. I'm an AYP, so you can call me okay, or a peer educator working at Bondo Youth Wellness Center.
So today, guys, we're diving into a very, very important conversation, and the conversation is about mental health. Now that you know from our last episode, you know that this is a mental health month, and this is a very, very important topic, right? I think you agree.
Yeah.
And you know, mental health affects us more than we realize. That's true. And a lot of people tend to ignore mental health. They don't think it's as important. But to me, I think mental health is as important as physical health to our human body, right?
Yeah.
So currently, like, this month is about men's mental health, and I was checking at the rates of people committing suicide, especially men, and there were very high rates, around 387. I guess those are the statistics. Yeah. So today, I'd like my guest here to talk about something on mental health, share something before we start.
Okay. First of all, we need to understand that mental health is just, people can use many words to really describe mental health, and it could be very something that people will assume it's like something weird or strange, but it's just a state of well-being. That is just the simplest way to define it. State of well-being, so that you're able to cope with daily challenges. Because you see, if you can't focus, if you cannot deal with daily challenges, then that's when now it evolves. So when it evolves, then now you're starting from small stresses of life, and then it's everyday stresses of life, so it piles up, and then now you get to depression. That's when now you have these disorders. But when you look at mental health, the way people look at it in terms of, I need to understand mental health, people start with big terms of disorder. Mental health is about this disease. You have OCD, you see, you have bipolar. But then this thing is just starting from the point of, how are you stressed? How can you manage daily life? Everything that comes as a challenge. Are you able to manage and cope with them? So when you're able to manage these small things, then now you don't get to that level. So that is why it is something that should be talked about every day, every now and then, because we have challenges everywhere, every time, every day.
Oh, nice. So I have a question to Naomi. So what does mental health mean to you personally?
Personally, mental health means that I'm okay or I'm not okay. And if I am okay, what is making me okay? If I am not okay, what is making me not okay? When I cannot respond well to issues, when I cannot associate well to people, when I cannot take care of my challenges, when I cannot take care of my problems, then it means I am not okay. So mental health just to me means that my mind should be stable, my mind should be okay.
That's nice. So people recently, about wakati hizi stories za mental health zimeanza kutokea, before that watu walikuwa wanachukulia mental health kama kitu ndogo ndogo, si ndio?
Jokes.
Yeah, kama jokes, like hapo naona kama it's a big deal. So Jack, to you, why do you think mental health is important?
Okay, personally, I think if the state of the mind is not correct, the state of the body won't be correct either. Plus, your mind is basically the functional unit of the body. So if you're not okay, uko juu, hawezi ishi kawaida. You can't, utakuwa na purpose. Kaza itakuwa tu kulala, yani uko tu. Ukiuliza unafanya nini, hujui.
Yeah. So you guys, do you think that right now men are suffering from mental health more than in the past? Do you think that's true?
Yes. You see, like in the past, the awareness of mental health was not really this much. There's so much awareness creation that has happened, and when people are aware, there's more findings. When people are not aware, there is neglect. So, and then awareness also comes with stigma attached to it. So people are actually going through mental health. And if you look at, like, we're focusing on young people, maybe 14 to 29. And if you look at that age, it's an age bracket where there's a lot of the Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
Compared to other generations. And the world is changing, true, but the way Gen Zs are, they're even faster than the world. So the challenges they're facing, they might not be able to cope with them that much. So that is why I can say the awareness is high and there is more findings, and therefore we can accept that there is a lot of mental health challenges with men kushinda kitambo. So there's just a lot that needs to be done. When you do awareness, you create awareness, you find solutions to these people. Now that they're aware, they're going through things that are actually challenging to them. So how are they supposed to deal with these things? So you create awareness, you find solutions. Then people are like, now you deal with mental health.
Yeah, you know, saizi venye tuko saizi, like, I think that's true that men are struggling more. Because saizi, you know, we all have friends, right? And saizi, to be honest, like, saizi tuko like on our 20s, kama venye mimi na Jack tuko, like saizi ni ile age ya mtu ku explore, kufanya nini, si ndio?
Yeah.
And hizo vitu kama maybe wengine wako maybe clubbing, no, it's
peer
fun.
pressure.
Yeah, peer pressure. Wengine wana kukunywa ilikuwa like for fun, but nowadays unaona like people are not drinking for fun, like it's serious. Like,
unapata wase wanakunywa to show off.
Yeah, like wengine wako na stress, like anakunywa tu.
And then there's the other part, there's a negative part pia. You're depressed ama you're going through something. Alcohol is the only, you think alcohol is the only solution.
Yeah.
Matter si alcohol, you can get into drugs, you can get into other things that are not helpful to you.
Yeah, you know, and these are our friends, like ni watu tu tunakushindana na wao. But you know, men ku open up it's very difficult, you know. And kama wewe na with your friends, what do you think maybe are signs that someone is struggling with mental health? Like ile tu kumwangalia na shida tu pamoja. What do you think?
I think first, okay, the character of the person seems to change, because if you're friends, you'll know Zabu, ama say Zabu anapenda kufanya hivi, ama Zabu normally comes around this particular time, ama when he's around, Zabu is joyful, cheerful, whatever. But then slowly the person becomes withdrawn. So maybe you used to come to the youth center, say like 5 days in a week, unakuja siku 3. The next week you don't even come at all, and then you don't feel like talking to people. Your character just shifts abnormally. And then when somebody asks you like nimba, you'll just say niko sawa. Because to men personally, you know, men opening up is very hard. Not unless even if you push to the corner, for men to open up, it's very hard, because most of the time we get in our current life setup, the moment you open up, the things that are eating you inside, you'll get the say you open up to, say, a friend ama a loved one ama your parent ama somebody, hizo vitu zenye zinakusumbua, later on these people, you don't know whether these people will come and use them against you to victimize you again. So that's why you get sometimes it's hard. Plus then society has given us a certain frame for men, that men aren't supposed to be soft. Okay, it's categorized as soft. See when you open up, say ladies, kitu kikusumbua leo, utakuja upige udaku ama uongee, you air it out, ama you get to your friend umwambie, hey, this and this is what's going on. But for men, mi ndapanda tuna boys, niende tuseme kaa ni shots 2-3 nini nijinyamazie, itakuwa ngumu for me to open up, things like that.
Yeah. And I think you open up imekuwa like a very big issue, like, you know, people, this thing is real, like people are actually dying, committing suicide. Like, why do you think ni ngumu open up kwa mtu? Like, according to you, like Cynthia, what do you think? Why don't men like opening up?
I think picking from what he has said, there's also culture of men, like are supposed to be that strong, and I think generations have been raised that men are supposed to be, and these are the people who are raising you, so they raise you the way they were raised, so there should be some cut off somewhere, and then so that the men understand that it's no longer that way. We are living in a different world, like I say. The world is changing and we need to change it to catch up. So there's culture part, and there's also like the way you are raised. Your environment plays a big role in who you become in terms of socialization or communication. So you see, this is a generation where people are outspoken, right? So you can either learn that through upper inje, because everybody is speaking out, but the best one that is good and can be instilled properly is the one that you learn from home. So speaking up or not speaking up is something that you learn as you grow. You could trust what. There's this one that you just outspoken and you're speaking about people and things that are happening, but what is affecting you and personal questions is something that you have to grow with. So when you are close, it begins from home. When you can actually talk to your parents or one of them from a young age, and then you can always have a conversation. You grow up knowing that it is normal to actually talk to someone, and then it builds that trust. So when you get out here, in as much as you will know you cannot trust everybody, but at least you know you can look for someone who is like the characters of the people you have trusted, like your parents. That is why they say you should have one trustee, you see. And it could be your parents or your friends or your sister or your brother. It necessarily doesn't have to be your parents. So if it's not built in the family when you're growing up, it becomes a challenge. Because you see, when you're growing up, you also have other challenges because you're changing, things are changing, you're meeting this, you have to deal with this, especially adolescents, you know, you have to deal with all these challenges. You're growing up, you have to be in a relationship, you have to pass exams, you're trying to learn life skills along the way because you're meeting different people. So there's the culture and culture also happening. So I think that is it. Just trusting someone is built. You trust and talking out and just having a way of always communicating what is affecting you is built. So when it is not built from a young age, then when you get out here, then you will have to. That is why now you go to a professional, you see, because you don't trust anyone. You see, like you said, you talk to someone and then they share it out. So that one shuts you completely. You can never talk about it. And then you also said that people drink for fun. They go drinking or they just drink not because they want to have fun. They're just drinking. It's an escape, kind of. I think that's what you meant. They're drinking to escape. So it's like, you see, with the mental well-being or mental health, that's okay. So mental health problem is the other side that is not okay. So you're supposed to look for coping mechanisms and then you choose the alcohol. Use that to escape. the problem. So if you are raised in a way that you can always communicate, you will not look for ways to escape the problem. You will go back home and maybe talk to someone about it. And by then you won't even get there, because if you are in a culture where you always communicate, you will be communicating, so it won't get to that point. So if it's not built, that's what I'm saying, then it can get there. Now you can't trust anyone. But if you don't trust anyone, that's why we have alternatives. You can look for professional, go air your enemies out. You'll be taught how to communicate. There's so many ways you can communicate, because there are so many things you're supposed to do. If you're stressed, you don't just need to talk to people. You go to peke. There are other things you can do. You see, because when it comes to mental health, dealing with it and every daily challenges, you're supposed to involve with other things. Things like cognitive skills, ease of it, social skills, you know, they're supposed to interact you so that your brain is, because you can interact. I don't know, I've answered you.
Yeah. Wow. So ikitu itokitu kwa nini growth, it starts from mdogo, like, right?
Yeah. It starts ukiwa mdogo, and as you grow, you build it. So if you don't, then you use the other ways, which is not easy for people, because sometimes someone has to find you for you to access them, you see. Because if you cannot communicate, you're not ready to talk to someone, you seclude, mostly. So someone has to see the way he's saying, you see your friend is, and say, I think this person needs help. Then that person will get you out of that situation. But if you know, you are able to get yourself out of that situation, right?
But how many people do you think can get themselves out of that situation?
I really can't say the statistics that how many people. But you see, if you continue with what you're doing now, and maybe we have more of this, then you become advocates. Then it means people will learn how to communicate. Then the number will be up. At this point, we can't say, because we can look at the statistics and see how much young people are speaking about mental health. And we'll find the nini is very kidogo.
Yeah,
statistics ni kidogo. So meaning, I think this is a good thing. Maybe it should just continue.
Yeah, because personally, I think for one to realize they're in a mental, say they're depressed, let's take depression. For one to accept they want to get out of this depression, it becomes, it's normally like a long process. You know, personally, your state is, you're basically down, let me say that. You're down. And then you don't feel like opening up to anybody. You don't feel like getting help. And to you personally, uko sawa. Mali uko, you're in your own encampment, you're in your own cocoon, you're basically okay. To you personally, ukijiangalia uko zile za, mi mali niko sawa. So it takes the first step, from what I know, the first step is the most important step. Realizing that you're in a ditch and knowing that you need to get help. Realizing that you have to speak out for you to come out of this threshold that you're in.
Yeah, you know, to add on depression, is this another level of stage of stress, the higher one. So when someone is depressed, even if they wake up and stand outside, simama tu kwa nyumba, they've made a step, because they usually don't want to do anything totally. So like if you see your friend is depressed and then you are planning for them to do something, they tell you they can't. If they wake up and eat something, you just say you've done something. It's actually a step. Depression is a stage where really you want no one. It's like you want to stay in the darkness and leave me alone. The world should shut.
Let me
should shut and just shut out. You see. So it's even just walking kidogo outside, it's steps. That's enough. You encourage them to do just bit by bit. I know with depression, it gets clinically diagnosed and then there's medication.
There's medication, yeah.
So it's accompanied with a therapy, but those little steps, those are good steps. They're positive outcomes. So someone can move. But kuamka tu mara once ati mtu alikuwa depressed, you expect them to wake up. Anaenda huko nje anatembea anapiga story amekaa na group of people. hiyo ni kali. So you see, the also lack of knowledge on how to deal with people in this situation also contribute. Because then if someone is depressed and you realize this person is depressed, you expect to get them out of that depression, but you don't have knowledge of the steps you're supposed to follow and how to understand them. So then you make them continue shutting. Anaweza hadi travel and apotea kwambia like I'm busy and I can't, like I'm doing it. Kumbe they're disappearing. You see? So just having the knowledge around it with everyone also will help. Thank you.
So I'd like to ask you, all of you, a question. So like, how do you personally deal with your mental health, like your tough days? During your tough days, how do you deal with your mental health, mental issues? I'd like to start with you.
Somehow, sometimes, every time somebody might have a mental health issue, because we are exploring more and maybe we are not up to achieving, and somehow inakufanya unakuwa down kidogo. So me, how I deal with my mental health is just socializing, having a friend to talk to. Yeah, and then I'm also not somebody who keeps quiet for long. So for me, I talk a lot. Hata ukinikosea mimi nitakuwa nimekupea tu kidogo kidogo. So ukiona umenikosea na nimenyamaza, hiyo ujue tu imeniingia, lakini nitaenda kuongea tu mahali, lakini initoke. So me having a friend to talk to, I usually talk. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me the expression of yourself. It doesn't matter what you think, but to me I think out, speaking out. Yeah. So if it's having my mental health to somebody, then I ever happen to that person. Yeah. So that equate na vitu zangu. Yeah. So maybe speaking out really helped me. Yeah.
That's nice. And what about you, Cindy?
Gonna have challenges that stresses me up. I work on it, like I do not postpone problem. I don't postpone problem because problems are there every day. So if I have a challenge with someone, amenikosea ama tumegongana, or something has happened that is affecting me, because it comes in many ways, I deal with it, I face it. I do not like literally postpone. I have to face it. I go through the pain, then it heals. So I'm always ready to just face that pain and deal with it, then it goes. Also, you see, like when you go through a challenge, there's many things accompanied. So at the back of my mind, I have the knowledge of when you're distressed, you may be having a problem with, maybe you don't eat well, you don't sleep well, you see. So I literally have to eat. I look at it like I'm sorting this out, and I'm like, I have to eat dinner, I have to eat, like I put myself on the spot, and then I have to sleep early. So if I find myself not sleeping, I do an exercise. So the body will always communicate. Your body will communicate. You see, like you go to sleep and then there's no sleep. It is not normal. You wake up in the morning, you did not sleep. It is not normal. The body is communicating. So why are you not sleeping? Did you eat? You didn't eat. You don't have appetite. So your body is communicating. So what are you supposed to do? Like when I said you're supposed to have these cognitive skills and social skills, those are supposed to return you back to a good state. So at that moment, if you don't sleep, you don't eat, then you're supposed to identify maybe some little activity. You see your neighbors maybe run in the morning and you're asking yourself, I can't even run in the morning. Your time, I can't. But I know I can work out in the house. Because I'm not a morning person. So I can work out in the house. That is supposed to like wake you up, return you to some physical state. You said about mental health and physical state, mental and emotionally. So these things are like, so when you are distressed, you're affected in that way. You're distressed, and then now physically you're affected. Actually, the pain is the last stage. Mental health like can affect you to the extent where you're emotionally stressed, and then now physically you feel the pain, like physically you feel the pain. So that is the last stage. So before you get there, work out, do something you love or you used to love, so you jumpstart it. and then try doing it, then you'll come back. So the only way to deal with this is to face it head on, like go through the pain, then come back to life. So that's what I do. I just go through the pain.
Oh, that's a nice mechanism. I'm not about to judge.
Personally, if I'm stressed or I have any mental challenges, personally I'm normally I like pushing myself back. So how I learned to deal with that, I'll go socialize, I'll go be around people. They say energy between people is spread, so utapata mtu ako na positivity yake mahali, mna crack jokes, mnakuja mnacheza games, such things. And then later on, because I know I won't sleep properly, I'll go run. I go run, exhaust myself, work out, kila kitu. Nikifika kwa hao, nishakula, naoga, usingizi, ni kesho. Yeah.
So there's this something, like to me, I recently came to know that mental health, once the stress may build up and all those traumas and stuff, they can lead to disorders and conditions. I didn't know that. I came to know that recently. So maybe you can mention something about that, about those disorders. I heard there's OCD and stuff, eating disorders.
Yeah,
eating.
Yeah,
There's PTSD.
They can. Yeah. And when you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder, so it depends with the source of the stress. You see, like you go through loss of someone you love, that is grief. You see, so when you escape such pain, then you'll have PTSD at some point. Italipuka, and then it depends the source of the stress. You are just everyday stress that builds up to depression, or you are traumatized as a child, so you have this childhood trauma that is building up. When you grow up, you're challenged to face a situation that you have been facing, and then when you grow up, you're like, no, I've gotten over that situation, I can never go back there again. And then now you have to raise a child probably. And so you're reliving through the child. So that, like, the trauma from your childhood, now you want to relive it with this kid of yours. So depending on the source of the stress, the disorder will be different to each. So, but something that is common in all this is that they are built up in a period of time. Stress tu yenye may grow pole pole. That is why managing and stress and prevention is the best way to go about it, so that it doesn't get there. And PTSD generally is just having something, incidents, stress. These are my death, something hit you so hard, and then unaichukua unaiweka kwa huko nyuma, like unaifunika tu, and then you learn to survive without looking back. And by the way, your brain will learn to close it. Brain yako itaishut. You can actually train your brain until inafunga hiyo mlango, and then now you can't touch it. But one day kitu tu itafanyika, then inakutrigger, then you start reliving it. So now you have the post-traumatic stress disorder. You're facing it because you didn't go through the pain, you see. So the source of the stress leads to different types of disorders. It depends. If it was, maybe you're having your childhood, you're having a relationship that starts with family, to how you relate with people when you grow up, to how you date, source of stress. If you lost your loved ones, for example, grief, then you sit on it, you don't face the pain, then you just live your life. It comes back when you're an adult. Now you face that. So disorders come in different ways depending on the source of the stress. And if you did deal with it, then it grows pole pole. So if you get to depression, then you can treat it, because now this is clinically diagnosed. You utakuwa mgonjwa, utapelekwa hosi, daktari atasema we are kona hii, ndio? And then daktari atasema we accompany this with therapy. But what if you train your brain to shut it completely and you don't go there? So now unaona sasa, that's difference. So now when ukikuwa mkubwa, now you have PTSD. Kitu tu inaitrigger, then ndio hiyo. So now you have a certain disorder. So something like that.
So I really wish that we had more time today. So as we conclude, I'd like everyone to conclude something about mental health, about to talk to the people. What do you think, they should do? What do you think they should do to cope with mental health, or a friend,
Okay, for me, I'd like to particularly address the guys between the specific age group 14 to 29 years of age. So my bro, bana msiogope kuongea. Look for professional help. Huko nje watu wanakufa and it's bad. It's really taking a toll, I know right now society ina stigmatize wanaume, ina put priority kwa the female gender, which is not bad. I'm not stigmatizing anybody. It's good to support that, but pia wanaume, you're losing yourself. Ukijinyamazia hivyo si poa. As much as utaenda ukunywe ufanye nini, ujisahaulishe for like 5 hours, but hiyo kitu bado iko. So don't be afraid to look for professional help. That's why we are here.
What about you?
So we know mental health is there. Mental health will always be there. And now how you take an action towards what you are suffering from or what is happening to you is what that matters. We have heard from Cynthia that we need to deal with it. Like, kama imekuja pambana nayo, because kama hujapambana nayo inamaanisha inakufuatanga in every stages of life. So maybe uko na childhood trauma, wewe umegrow tu, then inafika time something that triggers it. So for you usifike mahali sasa na hiyo yenye inakuanga triggered baadaye inakuanga worse than hiyo yenye umesuffer from, because now the other one becomes a normal way of living. And that one, the other one that inakuja baadaye sasa ni ile kenye inakuhit kwa your special location or your whatever. So deal with whatever is happening to you. Kama ni stress, deal with it from the beginning. Understand yourself, understand the reason why things are happening, understand yourself, the reason why you are having the challenges, then clear your mind. Kwa to green for everything. After clearing your mind, now you utapata a good platform. Now you are discovering yourself. So everybody suffers from mental health, but then how do you deal with mental health? Have you known yourself? Najua kuna wenye kwa hata wajijui. Naonanga tu na mkanga tu na cheka like they don't know why I am even laughing. Unaona. So if you don't understand yourself, if you don't know yourself, then it will be a challenge when you are dealing with mental health. If you don't know how to understand the stresses you are going through or what are bringing stresses into your life, then it will still affect your stages of recovery. So pambana nayo, go through the pain. Vile Cynthia amesema, ingia hapo katika
Yes.
Na pambane nayo hadi utoke.
Oh, nice. So if like mental health needs support from all the corners, like because it affects you, your environment, which means the people you live with, the people you interact with, they contribute to your mental well state. So you need to learn when to pull back when it's too hot for you, wherever you are. When to take a step back and just breathe. And also to young people, I would say, like, you might find it so hard to talk about issues you're going through, but it is a moment in life. It is a stage in life. It will go away. So when you deal with it, you will actually pass it. And then you'll go to the next stage, which will be better than that moment. So you'd rather deal with it at that time, then get over it, then move with your life, go to the next stage, than not deal with it and then maybe succumb to it or suffer or become a different person. Because when you are stressed and you go through something, it changes you as a person. It changes your view, your perception over the same things. But people are different. So then you become this person that you were not before. So you deal with it. So young people, you might be in a position where you don't know how to communicate, you don't trust anyone, but just learn that it is a moment in life, it's a stage, itaisha. So liwe liwalo, just deal with it and find the positive way to face it that does not affect you. So if you want to escape it, alafu uende kwa pombe and then you do, or you go take maybe drugs, that is not a positive way because it will affect you as a person and your productivity haitakuwa sawa, si ndio? So look for a way of facing it in a positive way. And some people say that when you want to go through something and be successful, you pull away from many people, si ndio? Especially in success. But even when you're going through challenges, sometimes you look at the right people that you need around. That means you'll pull away from many other people, because you need a safe environment to actually survive this thing. So you have to know, like I said, your body will always communicate. So listen to your body. Always listen to your body. And if any parent is watching this or will see this, I would say that give people, your children and family, space to actually communicate their thoughts. And you can ask simple questions or have discussions. Just talk about how the day was, and you learn if this person is able to talk or they've shut up completely, they don't want to talk, and then you'll realize the problem. So among your friends, if you're not the way he said that you can see someone withdrawing or pulling, if you can't help them, look for someone who can help them, but don't let them go on with that, because many people will not actually go for help by themselves. When it comes to mental health, it's other people who notices the way you behave is different, because at that point you're in a state where you think you're okay, but you're just in a surviving mode. So the other person will see. So we be our brother's keeper and then say, okay, this is different, but I am his friend or her friend, I cannot do this, but I know this other person, you see, who can do this. So be your brother's keeper. That way utakuwa na deal nayo. On a personal level, you're supposed to know have some skill. You see, these social skills. Be someone who has some social skill you do. Like he says, he run. What do? You dance with music with headphones on your ears. Fine, that is it. Do it. And what do? You go and rap somewhere or dance the way you guys dance here at the youth center. Do it. Find something that you own, a social skill that is yours. So because we live in town, but mental health also is good when sometimes when you are packed up, you change environment kidogo. But I cannot say it works for everyone, because I would say sometimes just go home. You see, rural, because of the nature and the difference in culture and everything, your brain learns that this is peaceful. No, this is different. And then you relax, then you come back to this environment, which now your brain was like, this is chaotic and depressing. You see? So when you go that side, you decompress, and then you come back. So those are ways that you can develop these cognitive skills and social skills for your personal management, because you learn how to manage problem of the day life like that. So when you have those ones, then utakuwa na manage peke yako. So yeah.
So guys, sadly, that was all the time we had for today. Thank you for joining. This is At Stake podcast once again. I hope you've learned something. Take care of yourself out there. Thank you for the best.
Everything is at stake.